Okay, so yesterday I think in last half an hour I was not really feeling well. So is there any doubt from the last half an hour what we discussed regarding conclusion and body part from yesterday's class? I really thought myself that was I able to communicate my points or not? Any doubt? Understood? Last half an hour not visible. I'm not visible. Any doubt? Online walo, any doubt from the last half an hour? From yesterday's class. Any doubt from the class? Okay, so I think let us start with our first case study, that is Rashika. Yes, the same question was asked by UPSC in section A this year in the context of challenges faced by women in the working environment. Yes, in section A UPSC. अब कहाँ पे थे भाई आप? ईद के चांद हो रखे हो? वेडिंग? बाद में तबीयत खराब हो गई. ठीक. You have not been regular in these classes. That is not good. Okay. Have you written all the tests? Pending only. Not good actually. Okay. So the same question was asked by UPSC in section A this year. Okay. So let us read this question. Okay. Should we read it? Okay. The important perspective is that the children, I think it is not bold here, but it is bold here. The children which are aged 3 and 5, it is important. The age is important because of, yes, because of crèche facility that is there in the Maternity Benefit Act. Okay, and then the case study is about essentially what? What are the important keywords of case study? This is about, yes, first of all, you have to balance your private life and personal life. Professional life and personal life, work life and private life. Secondly, it is about the work culture in the government organization, that in short notice you are giving lot of work and everything. And third, importantly, it is about dual burden. Yes, that in a way it is reinforcing that, because discharging essential social obligation. Where it is, that line? Yes, discharging essential social obligation. So this is about patriarchy that the statement is saying. Okay, so let us just look at the questions first. That what are the ethical issues that are that are there in the case studies. So all of you understand the difference between ethical issue and ethical dilemma? Yes. So when we are talking about ethical issues, then my request to all of you is that all of you should think from the stakeholder perspective. Okay. So if you want to generate more number of points in terms of ethical issues, start thinking from stakeholder perspective. That what are the ethical issues from different stakeholder perspective. Okay, so that is what you should strive for. So we need to talk about the ethical issues from the Rashika's perspective, from the part of the superior, from the organizational perspective, Vikram also. Yes, her husband, I think. Yes, and then children and society in large. Okay, so what are the ethical issues from everyone's perspective? Because then when you think systematically, then only you will be able to talk about all the ethical issues in a multidimensional fashion. Otherwise you will be missing out. You will be writing about ethical issues that are at the forefront, and you will be missing out on the ethical issues that actually. How many of you wrote the ethical issues from stakeholder perspective? Brilliant. Okay, so from now on what you start doing that from the perspective of stakeholder, you generate the point. So let us discuss Rashika in detail now. Okay, of course our discussion will be we will elaborate a lot on these things, because I want you to learn that how you have to think. So from Rashika's perspective, what are the ethical issues that are there? Golden mean, she's missing the golden mean. The same, but golden mean we have discussed. The work-life balance she is missing. So that is a perspective, and there is sort of direction of duty towards the children, because the professional desires, they need to be balanced by her duty towards the children. That is another perspective that is there. And fairness, ethical issues with respect to she is not being treated fairly vis-a-vis her husband. No, there is systematic discrimination with respect to that. The husband is not actually, he who is routinely absent, and because of that, double burden is there. And then ethical egoism. That she is burdened. The same thing that. One essay topic that I gave you, that high pedestal for women is as much a prison for them. So basically, when you put women on high pedestal, you put them, on lot of expectations, and those expectations become inhuman expectations. Okay, so she has to balance her job also, her family life also, responsibility towards husband also, and everything. So in doing all of that, she need to take care of herself also. So ethical egoism perspective is there, that she need to be kind to herself also. Self-care is something, care ethics. We discuss care ethics. So care ethics, that she need to take care of herself also. And then because of social obligations, the word that was there, it is talking about double burden. Yes, so these are the ethical issues that we can think of from the perspective of Rashika. Yes, then let us talk about from the perspective of superior. Superior. So, it is not exactly the kind of leadership, that you would like to have from the perspective of your superior. Because it talks about lack of empathy on his part, that he's giving he's not considering the personal commitment, and also it is talking about potential abuse of power, because in short notice you are asking someone to do something and you are doing that, So it is talking about lack of leadership on his part. Then organization, if that thing is being done very frequently, then the work culture is not really productive. People are actually being treated like a means only, because you are not taking care of their dignity in a way that you are not treating, you are not understanding the other aspect as well. This routine sacrifice of personal life that is there, that has become part of work culture. Work culture is very important element here. How many of you discuss work culture in this? Absolutely nice, very nice. Okay, work culture. Then Vikram, of course, is complicity, not doing his duty. Then children, children, they are also not being treated fairly in terms of their right to parental care. Both the parents in a way absent with respect to their duty, their parental love and support, they are not there. And ultimately, from the societal perspective, we talk about common good approach here. What is common good approach? Look, the family is an institution, when the work-life balance is not there, when such things are happening, it is because of that family as an institution will suffer. And if this becomes the general norm, then we will be failing in our duty in terms of socialization. That is our primary duty that is there. Our children, they will not become better citizens. They will not, we will not be able to raise them properly. So that is the bigger perspective that is there. This case study is highlighting that systemic issues when both parents are working, that at times it may lead to the neglect of children, and that will be catastrophic. Because in a way you are ruining one child, you are ruining one life, and there will be potential consequences for that. And categorical imperative, this cannot be universalized. This sort of work culture, we cannot universalize that. Understood? And ultimately you can simply ask the boss that whether he will have whether he will follow the reciprocity principle in that, whether if his wife is there, whether he will allocate the same work to her at short notice when he and she has to take care of the child. Understood? So that is what perhaps you can talk about. So when we are discussing ethical issues, we need to understand from different stakeholder perspective, then only we will be able to generate lot many dimensions and ethical aspect. Remember to use golden mean, remember to use categorical imperative, common good approach in terms of family institutions, emotional intelligence, leadership, work culture. These are the important keywords that should be part of this. Double burden, ethical egoism, yes, and all these things you can, ethics in private relationship, the requirement of care and everything. So how many of you have written on these lines? Only 60-70% of the answer. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So this is what you need to do. So from now onwards, please think ethical issues, think from the perspective of stakeholders. You need not write too many stakeholders in all of them. Of course, Rashika will take a lot of space. Perhaps boss will also take a lot of space. But after that, you can write 1 or 2 points only. That will just suffice. And since the number of questions is, B question is very small question. 4 laws only you have to narrate. So you can talk about 9 to 10 ethical issues also, because you simply have to narrate them. You need not explore them. You need not write them in greater detail. You just have to write the ethical issue in terms of principle, that this principle is getting violated and on the part of this stakeholder. Understood? So that is how you need to write. Done. The other part is the 4 laws. I think it is easy. Yes, maternity benefit, Equal Remuneration Act, protection of women from sexual harassment. So many acts are there. So I think that is easy. Now, the question is, imagine you are in a similar situation. Now, what suggestions would you make to mitigate such working condition? What will be your suggestions? Dear students, whenever you are solving a case study, okay, just whenever you are solving a case study, just break the problem that is there in front of you. Just see what are the different components of the problem that you need to solve. So in this case study, what are those different components of the problem that you need to solve? Perhaps you need to tell something to Rashka that, see, what you are doing is wrong. This is how you need to go about it. Perhaps you need to tell something to her boss also that, see, this is how you need to go. Perhaps you will have certain suggestions for the organization as a whole. Also, you will be, suggesting something to husband, something like that. The thing is, you need to break down the problem. You need to have a macro perspective. It should not be the case that all your suggestions are towards Rashika only or towards boss only, because that is a rather poor way of addressing one problem. In case study, you must have a broader perspective, and that is why you must address each of these challenges, in a different way. Understood? So when we are addressing that, okay, you simply talk about Rashika, that what you will suggest to her. So you will perhaps suggest that you should communicate with the senior. You must exhort his empathy, because that should be your first solution, that you should speak with the senior. It should not be the case that you are filing the complaint on the first day. The dialogue is the first statement that is there. So you must exhort his empathy, negotiate some more manageable workload, explore some flexible work arrangement that are there, work from homes, set boundaries that, I will not be working on this, until unless it is absolutely necessary, and it should not become the routine. That is what you are. And then yourself, you need to prioritize and delegate what you need to do yourself and what you can delegate. This is very important. I am telling you, this principle you can apply in your life also. Okay, when there are so many things, when you are overwhelmed by so many things, that this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, just ask yourself whether this thing can wait or not. Okay, just ask yourself whether this thing can wait or not. So you will realize that 50% of the problems, 50% of the tasks will just simply go. Because you will see that if you solve that problem perhaps tomorrow, day after tomorrow, then also it will not make a lot of difference. Okay, in general I am speaking, not then second thing, you see that whether it is you only who have to do it, whether there is someone else in your family, you can delegate that or not. Okay, that is what also you can see. So these two principles are very important that you can also employ in terms of your job, and that will give you a lot of free space. So many times, many of our problems are imaginary. Many times, all of them does not require immediate attention, but they take a lot of space in terms of our thinking. So you need to see that. So that's what you will say to her also, that you also need to prioritize and then delegate. You need not do everything yourself. You are, I think, joint secretary. Okay, so you can perhaps delegate something to your subordinate also. So that is what. So that will be your advice to Rashika. Then with respect to children, because see, taking care of children is another important problem aspect. It is not problem with respect to that, but that is that we need to address, that the children should be taken care of. So what we need to do for that? That is how we need to think, that what we need to do for the children. Then of course you talk about this creche facility that is there as part of Maternity Benefit Act. Then you can seek support by sharing responsibilities and duties with the husband or the immediate family member, that please share the responsibility, because at this point of time I'm not able to balance all these things. And then ultimately, she must take care of herself also, her own physical and mental health, yoga, meditation, emotional intelligence. And she should also have some broader meaning of success, because initially, it is that she has been waiting for this posting, and how she had looked forward to this posting, had worked long hours for months to achieve it. She had kept the welfare of the people uppermost, and she had not done enough justice to her family, not fulfilled her duty. So basically, she is a career woman in a way that she's prioritizing the professional duties more than the personal responsibility that are there. So the point is, you can perhaps communicate that you need to balance. Both the things you need to balance, and also you need to give certain responsibility to your husband also, or you need to share those responsibility. And then you must have some broader meaning of success, that you may become professionally successful, but if you fail as a mother in terms of your private responsibility, that will be catastrophic. So that is the perspective that you can communicate to the Rashika, that professional success should not come at the personal cost of family, because that will be irreparable damage that will be there. Understood? Because it is there in the case study itself, she has, this problem is there, that she's prioritizing something at the expense of other, and you can highlight the downside of it, that perhaps you need to have broader meaning of success. You should not just be professionally successful, but you should also be successful in your duty with respect to your children also. So one must have broader meaning of success. Understood? And ultimately, if things does not improve, then you must seek justice. This is also equally important. I mean, it should not be all sweet talk only. Okay, if things are not improving for you, if things are not working for you, then you must seek justice. How many of you talked about this? That ultimately you will complain, you will seek redressal. Raise your hand. Okay. बाकी लोग क्यों नहीं? Ethical side नहीं दिखेगी उसमें इसलिए. You must not be shy away from, these are legitimate ways. I mean, if something is not improving, you have done everything, then, you have discussed regarding sharing of the workload, exploring flexible work arrangement, broader meaning, everything you have discussed. Now, ultimately, this is the last thing that you would like to pursue. And you must not be shy from exploring this option. This is very, very important, that ultimately you have to, the exploration continues, then you have to seek redressal. This is very important, apart from whatever you are writing, because if this is not there, then, all these things are sweet talk only, Perhaps they will consider you for Indian Foreign Service after that, that we are removing all of the service choices for you and you simply go to something like that. Understood? So this is what. So when you are speaking to Ashka, think in a very broader manner, that what are her immediate responsibility, what are her immediate concern, maybe her attitude with respect to success and everything, what you need to manage. Understood or not? Then, yes. आएंगे धीरे धीरे रे मना. Okay, so we'll come to that. And then, you should talk about Suresh, and the organization, that what you also need to do. You need to differentiate between private and public relationship. You need to differentiate that someone also have, private life also. So empathy and compassion is something that should be part of the work culture. And that is why ethical leadership trait is desired. You must lead by example, by yourself having that. And because only then there will be higher productivity, higher morale. And if an employee is constantly thinking about the children only while she or he is at work, then they will not be productive. They will be physically present but mentally absent. So that is not what you want. And you can give the example of Google, for example. Google case study, you can quote that how productivity, morale, motivation, all these things are interlinked. Okay, and that is why emotional intelligence is desired from the perspective of leadership. And also from prudent perspective also you can discuss that you must be prudent in terms of workload management. You can perhaps better plan so that, there is not short notice every time, you are delegating work. If you are, every time there is short notice, then there is a problem with you as a boss, that you are not planning your workload properly. Okay, so you need to plan your workload properly so that you can give enough time for someone to manage her workload accordingly. So that is what, there should be fair distribution of work, proper planning should be there, and you must innovate in terms of flexible methods like work from home, legal compliance, because legal compliance is also very important in terms of maternity benefit and everything. And from overall perspective, you must improve participant management style so that, the workers, the lower management or the people from the subordinates, they can communicate their grievances, and so that you can act upon it, and you have to follow the role models. You can become role models, sensitivity training, role playing methods, all these things you can employ in terms of team building exercises or exerting the empathy. Understood? So basically, when we are discussing this case study, we are talking about not just from the Rashka perspective, but from the organizational perspective also. And when we are talking about organizational perspective, always think in terms of work culture, leadership, emotional intelligence, and all these keywords in terms of building the attitude. Psychological dimension is also equally important. Psychological and emotional dimension. That is why emotional intelligence and psychological dimension, role-playing methods, sensitivity training, everything will come into the picture. So how many of you quoted all these keywords, role-playing methods and all these things? Sensitivity training. बाकी लोग? Google is very good. आपने नहीं किया? क्यों? किया? तो हाथ खड़ा करिए. बाकी लोग? सबने किया? All of you? Ketan? Role playing method and everything? ऑनलाइन वालों कितने लोगों ने लिखा यही सब? रोल प्लेइंग. अरे चैट पे लिखो, चैट पे. Understood? So you must have a broader perspective. Team building exercise also you can have in terms of, these are very generic suggestions. You can use them wherever you have to improve working condition. Okay, so that's why we are discussing in them in detail. And these are generic points that will come in every suggestion that you are giving, that to improve this is how you need to write. Understood? Okay, another thing is I wanted to communicate yesterday. Then I thought I will discuss with case study only. See, justification. Then when we want to give, here this was not exactly case study for justification, because simply talking about suggestion only, not options and which option you are choosing and why. That part is not there. But suppose that is there, that which option you will choose and why. Listen to me very carefully. Then this why, this justification, actually this comes at two levels. You need to understand these two levels. Where the two levels is that suppose you have four options. In any case study, I'm not talking about this case study only, in any case study, suppose four options are there, that you will be let's talk about the yesterday's case study, in terms when your boss is saying that you need to let things go, you need to be slow in terms of investigation and meeting and everything. So suppose one option is that you agree with boss, that you will be keeping quiet and everything. Another option is that you go ahead and do this thing. Understood? So you have so many ways to go, so many options, let's say four options are there, but then why are you taking one particular option? Okay, that is first level of justification. First level of why that is there, that why exactly you are taking that option only. Understood? So probably because of conscience, because virtue approach, because of consequences, the duty, everything. So the argument can be different, but why exactly you are choosing this course of action only amongst all the options. Understood? This is first level of justification. Second level of justification is when you are actually writing what you will do. Okay, for example, I will prepare a report. After that I will prepare the report, I will conduct a social audit, I will do this, I will do this. So whenever you are writing I will do this, you need alongside that statement you write to achieve this. So I will prepare a report by a third party, or I will get the report audited by a third party to ensure objectivity. Understood? So in this case, suppose you are saying that you will get the report audited by a third party to ensure objectivity, because at this point of time the cracks are not there's debate on the opinion. In your opinion, cracks are dangerous. Superior is saying cracks are okay. So that's why you must have, you cannot always assume that there is something wrong in that. Okay, so you must have some other expert opinion also, so that to ensure objectivity. So that is what you can write. To ensure objectivity, I will do this. To spread awareness, I will do this. To do this, I will do this. So here, in every suggestion, more often than not, you are justifying that why exactly you are doing that step and to what end. This is your secondary level of justification. Let me just reiterate again. The first level of justification is that why you are choosing this course of action only, why you are not choosing other option, why you are not keeping quiet, why you are not seeking transfer, why you are not doing any other thing than what you are doing. So this is about that why you are going towards this path only. This second level of justification is more action oriented. This is basically why you are taking that particular step only. So you are telling the reasoning also to the examiner that to do this, I will do this. In this case, to ensure esprit the corps, or to ensure team spirit, we will conduct cultural events, games, something like that. For example, here to change attitude of the leadership, we will have role-playing methods. To ensure emotional sensitivity, we will have sensitivity training. So now you are not just dumping the keyword sensitivity training, role-playing methods, because if you dump those keywords, the argument is not proper. You are not communicating that why you are employing those methods. But if you are writing like that to achieve this, I am doing this. To do this, I am doing this. I am doing this to achieve this. You can interchange that. That is the secondary way of justification that is there. All of you are now clear with the justification. The first level of justification is that why you are choosing this course of action. It will be about ethical argument mostly, and this will be mostly about the specific objective that you want to achieve by a particular step. And that is how you will be writing your steps. Understood? Understood or not? Everyone understood? Online walo, any doubt in that? Any doubt on that? Any doubt? So how many of you wrote at least 60% of this answer? Very nice. Okay, what is the doubt, Anjali? You can ask the doubt. What is the doubt? For example, one transport case study is there. Okay, so one of the option can be that you are agreeing with both the demand. Another option can be that you are rejecting both the demand. Okay, so why are you not taking these two options? That will be the primary justification, that why you are not going towards that direction. Okay, that it will be against your concern, against work culture, whatever you want to write. And then what is the specific step that you are doing, that will be a secondary justification, that this I am doing for this I am doing for this I am doing for this. Understood or not?
So not taking that option will explain the demerits of that.
Demerit you will not explain. That is what I discussed yesterday. It will be like it will be mechanical only. So you simply write some keywords that demerit is that, superior may be wrong, something like that. There are some obvious options that are there, okay. I will discuss about the obvious options also. In those obvious options, the obvious merits and demerits are also there. For example, one option that you can always create, because often the question will ask you what are the options available to you. One of the options you can always create that you will ask your senior and you will follow what your senior is saying. That is the standard option that you can always create in almost all the case studies that is there. So standard merit is standard merit. Best practices, like you can give the example, role methods, Google example, everything. You can follow that, something like that.
Following senior advice.
Yeah, so that's the option that you can create, that you will be following, you will be seeking senior's advice and you will be following it. The merit of that option is that he has more expertise than you, he has more experience than you are following the Bavarian bureaucracy, Bavarian morality of hierarchy, and in case anything goes wrong, then you can expect his support because you are following his suggestion only. So work culture, team spirit and everything will be there. Understood? So that are the obvious merits that are there. Expertise, experience, Bavarian bureaucratic ethics that is there of hierarchy. If things goes wrong, then you can expect his support. Obvious merits are there. What is the demerit? That he may be wrong. He may ask you that overlook things, and then you may have crisis of conscience. So he may suggest you something that may go against your sense of morality, your sense of your conscience. So you will have crisis of conscience, you will have cognitive dissonance. In your first class? No? Okay. So you will have crisis of conscience, so that will be the obvious demerit. Another demerit can be that ultimately you will be responsible. Does not matter what your senior is advising, ultimately it will be your decision, your signature. So whatever he advises, the legal consequences will be yours only. So we already have obvious merits and demerits. Understood? Another option that you can always create is seeking transfer. That you will seek transfer. What is the merit of the case? That you will avoid whatever the demerits are there. In the context of case study, you can write the merits, okay? Because in the context of case study, it will always be there. For example, in the case of sand mafia, family security will be there. You will be saved, something like that. So the merit will be there. Sand mafia case study, you remember? Okay. So now, what are the demerits? The standard demerit from a perspective of virtue ethics is being covered. Another standard demerit is there is no guarantee that similar situation will not come in the place that you are going. What you will do then? You will again seek transfer? Because it is not effective. This option is not effective because there is no guarantee that the similar problem will not occur in the next posting that you are going. And then it does not solve the problem. It simply transfer from you to someone else. And he will be having the same dilemma then. So, because he will also have family. Okay. So the problem is this, that it does not solve the problem. You will have the same thing. You can face the same problem later on also. It is making you coward, and also it will be bringing you reputational risk also, because in bureaucracy you will not be taken as someone who is respecting challenges, who is accepting challenges and then solving those challenges, who loves challenging situation. So you will not be respected for that. So that is a problem that will be there. You will be losing a lot of respect and credibility in the bureaucracy. So obvious demerits are also there. So that is how you can create more, standard option, and you can use them. Understood? All of you have understood this part? You may like to note that this part. Definitely work-life balance you can always talk about. क्यों unethical लगेगा? बिल्कुल, that is what I am telling you. I mean, you should not be shy away from writing that you have to complain, that you will be complaining after exhausting all these options. Because see, if you are not suggesting that then you will not be doing the same thing also when it comes to you. What does it mean? That when you actually become district magistrate, you will not be encouraging the people who are complaining against you. That is the thing, that you are not aware about your rights also. And this, that even Sundays should be holiday, something like that, it is there. Exceptions are always there, that you can always write, exceptions aside, but there should be weekly holiday. SOPs you can create, SOPs and everything you can create, ensuring there is work-life balance. To create SOPs so that everyone is, clear what is expected of them. So regarding the work-life balance, I was interesting topic. Shall I discuss? Okay, so I was in Norway this summer, and there I saw the perspective of the people regarding work-life balance. You see, on Sunday, I mean, they just don't want to work. The 5:30, the work hours are over, the work hours are over. They will be going home, they will be chilling, and they will going to parks and everything, because they know there is life beyond work. And when I discussed, with so many people, I found that in summers, when their summers are there, in summers, you need to mandatory take holidays. It is mandatory to take holidays. If you don't take it, then you will be, you will be treated like outcast. Okay, so it is mandatory because they want you to rejuvenate and do so many things. And see, on the beaches, this fjords are there in Norway. Fjords, you understand fjords? The question was also there. Okay, so in fjords, is very scenic beauties there. So when fjords are there, then on those side steps, there will be boats. Boats, and people will build, they will have some construction, they will build a house. Okay, a temporary house will be there. From the outside, you will have that it is like polythene and everything, but it is very luxurious house. Everything they are having, just like dining room and everything, quite big house they will have, compartment, everything will be there. And lot many houses will be there like that, in that place, just before this ocean. And everyone, during the summertime, everyone will just come and stay there for 1 month or 2 months. And that entire thing will be crowded. And see, that is the perspective they have towards life, that the life has to be enjoyed. It is not just about working and working and working. So they really have a very good perspective with respect to work-life balance. And just as what we think of Africa, African people, what we think of them, that perhaps they are not having a good life, something like that. Life is not qualitative with respect to so many things, healthcare facilities, something like that. That's what I felt when I was there, that I'm having an African life perhaps compared to the developed country life. Because you see, their quality of life is tremendously good, tremendously good. The social security system is very good. It's absolutely good. And that is why, unemployment allowances, even though they are paying hefty taxes, 30%, 40% of salary that they are paying as taxes. And then, but they are getting lot many things in return. Because education is free, healthcare is free. If you get unemployed for whatever reason, you will have unemployment allowance for 1 year, 2 years also. And it is hefty allowances. Of course, you need to show that you are, trying for jobs, you are getting rejected from there, but the allowances are there so that you can sustain yourself. And they will also help you in terms of finding jobs and everything. So basically, you need not worry. When you become old, and if there is no one to take care of you, there are homes that are there that will take care of you. So I was just amazed that, can you just think now, see, in Indian mentality, as of now you are into this preparation and all, but suppose after this, so what is the mentality? What can be the anyone's target? That one should have financial security. Why? Because of healthcare, because of education, because you want to save something for children and everything. There is inherent tax for that also. If you transfer wealth to your offsprings, then there will be a lot of tax on that. So basically, they are not encouraging that mentality. They are encouraging that, see, we have taken care of everything now. You need not worry about health, education. Lot many expenditures are in that only. You should not be worried about the disasters in terms of unemployment and everything. So now just enjoy your life. You work and you enjoy your life. And I mean, I really like that perspective, that everything now, if we are paying taxes here, what we are getting, I mean, public health, public education, I mean, the lesser side, the better it is. Just unemployment allowances, nothing is there. Okay, even though you are paying a lot of money to the government in terms of taxes. So that is what it is. So when the difference that is there, Norway population is less. Yes, that is another perspective. It is less, of course, but I mean, those are the determinant of social security system. Okay, that when you already have good, I mean, Indian population was not that high in the beginning. Yes, there must be something that has led to this population explosion. So those factors are that factors only. Okay, so work-life balance is very, very important. And when I was there, I was like that only, that we are not really having a quality life. You know, we are just simply making our ends meet. And so, and I was discussing with some students also, that what you are reading, you know, their education system is like, they are, you know, they are given a lot of tasks in terms of skills. You know, they actually learn so many skills. They are given so many options. It is not that like academic learning only all the time, just like we have to compete and, you know, something like that. It is not there. It is mostly about actual skills that you have to learn, and then perhaps that will help you in terms of everything. So from that perspective, I mean, you should not be worried about saving, you should not be worried about anything. So that is how it is. I mean, the quality of life is really good in terms of everything. The perks of developed country, perhaps, yes. I don't know how many years it will take to get there, but yeah, it is there. So work-life balance is important. You would like to write this? And after that only I decided that I will not have class on Saturday, Saturday and Sunday. I mean, after that, the June batch, I was having class on Saturday because the time between prelims and mains was not that high. But after that, I just communicated that as far as possible, I will not have classes on that. Done?
So in this suggestion, we have to mention the subheading also.
Subheading, yes. Subheadings will make your answer better in terms of presentation. People will understand that to what end you want to suggest this. Definitely. Okay, so let us talk about the next case study. This case study is important. In every batch I give this case study because basically when you answer this case study, the first case study, you get so many arguments that you can actually use in other case studies also. Okay, so you are an honest and responsible civil servant, and you often observe the following: that there is general perception that adhering to ethical conduct, one may face difficulties to oneself and cause problems for the family, whereas unfair practices may help to reach the career goal. So basically this is nothing but later, this study was asked, I think 14, 15, 16, something like that. And I mean, this is the same of your case study that is there. So each of these arguments, each of these options, each of these statements are actually case study scenarios for you. So if you can just generate ready-made arguments for that beforehand, then it will be very easy for you to justify what you are doing and why you are doing that. Okay, don't you think it is the same thing only? I mean, the sand mafia is threatening your family, and if you can just succumb to that, then you will be safe, your family will be safe. And in the last year, I mean, yesterday's case study, you will be rewarded fortune also. State cabinet minister was there, so you will be able to achieve your career goals and everything. So basically, I mean, these are the crux of lot many scenarios, and that is why I choose this case study often. In every batch it is there, because when we discuss that, you will have lot many ready-made arguments. So merit, I think all of you can write. The merit is obvious, that family safety and everything will be there. So how will you counter that? How will you counter that? How will you counter that no, this is not something that we agree? What will your argument? That, you know, unfair practices can help you in reaching career goal. If someone is saying that to you, then what you will say to that? Yes, so shelf life of lie is very small. Ultimately, truth will come out, and then you will have more problems. Fair argument? Yes, means should take care of the end, definitely. But what is the problem? That is what it is saying, that forget about means. Crisis of conscience will be there, because you are otherwise an honest civil servant. You will have a lot of crisis of conscience, and basically you will not be able to enjoy that success also. because you will always be fearing police, you will always be fearing punishment, everything. Public trust, yes. Then?
Ethics is also rewarded in terms of
So the reward are only for the short term only. Long term, you will be not bad. And another thing is it asking you that it will help you reach the career goal. You can talk about that also. What exactly is the career goal? It is about posting only? Is it about posting only, or is it about being effective when you are posting? I'm asking you, is it about posting only? The career goals are that you will get more promotion, better posting. Is it about posting only, or is it about being effective in your posting? So it will be about being effective in what you are doing. If you are a jailer, then be a great jailer. If you are a collector, be a great collector. It is about that. So how you will be more effective? Either by being honest or by being dishonest. By being honest only, because if you are dishonest, no one will listen to you in a way that you will have credibility crisis, leadership trait will not be there, subordinate will not respect you, something like that. So you will not be effective in what you are doing if you are following unfair means, and no career goal can be served by that. So you need to define your career goal very importantly. That career goal is to serve people, is to ensure that whatever responsibility is given to you, you are doing that wholeheartedly in letter and spirit. That is what you need to talk about. And then if you do that duty, with a lot of your conscience and everything, you will have a lot of sense of fulfillment. Ultimate happiness will be there. So that is the real thing. And ultimately that will help you in terms of inculcating right set of values in your family, role modeling for your child. You will be the role model perhaps that she would like to follow. And that is the greatest contribution that you can do to your family, that you are the great model for your child. You are inculcating the right set of value to your child. In the family, right set of environment is there. On the other hand, if you go to jail, who will take care of your family? That is the biggest disservice and biggest problem that they will face. Transfers will look much easier in terms of your jail. It may cause problems for the family. So then there will be bigger problem if you go to jail. Understood? Understood or not? So that is what you need to write in this. In terms of demerits, whatever it wants to say, you need to counter that career goals are not there. There will be even more problems and difficulties. Maybe for short term or long term you will be happy. Or counter perspective, if you have an ethical means, you can cause even bigger problems to your family and you will suffer even more because shelf-life is very small and things like that. Understood? So that is what you need to argue, and this is what you can argue in the case of sand mafia also. That let's say if you seek transfer from the posting, then will you be able to tell that to your daughter that I was a coward, I ran away from the responsibility, and what kind of role model you will be for your daughter, for example? Understood? The same parent, that test that we discussed yesterday, the same argument we can do there. And if you are seeking transfer to something else, will you be effective in that role? Because you are not courageous. This option simply shows that you lack courage. Then will you be effective in that role? No, you will not be effective. The same argument, your career goal, you will also not reach there. A transfer will not really solve problem for you. And yes, problem of simply solve that is there. Understood? Understood, everyone? So argument, all of you have noted down all these arguments, what I was speaking. So the next argument is, when the number of people adopting unfair means is large, a small minority having a penchant towards ethical means make no difference. So that is the argument that can be given by your boss to you in the context of case study. That see, Ketan, everyone is doing the same thing. Okay, anyone who is there, that see, everyone is doing the same thing, and perhaps this is what you should also do. And if you don't do it, then there will be threat, false cases, your mother getting cancer, everything, all those scenarios will be created for you just to create more dilemmas. But the real thing is this, that they will be telling you that everyone is doing it and that's why you should also do it. Now you know the argument. Just because everyone is doing it, it does not make it right. Okay, the argument that we learned yesterday. How many of you quoted that argument today? Brilliant. How many of you did not? Why? You must remember that. Okay, so how will you counter this perspective? How will you counter this perspective? Yes, wrong is wrong, everyone is doing it. That is the argument. How will you counter this perspective? Anyone? Counter. See, first argument is that, minority do make a lot of difference. Don't underestimate the power of that statement is there, na? Because that is the only thing that has changed the world. Talk about Gandhiji, talk about Nelson Mandela, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ishidharan, T.N. Session. Minorities have actually made a lot of difference. So this argument is not really true. Understood? So that is what you can argue. And ultimately, truth is truth, even if no one believes it. A lie is lie, even if everyone believes in it. Understood? And argument of slippery slope. That also you can give something like that. And duty, conscience, so the same argument all of you can give. And ultimately, you can write ikla chalo re, that if not everyone is aligning with you, but it is time for you to walk the path alone. Ikla chalo re, because you need to be responsible for what you are doing. You need to be true to your conscience. Ikla chalo re. That is the argument that you need to write. And you can write this argument in case studies also. And that is what you can write. If no one is supporting me, then it is time for me to walk the path alone. Ikla chalo re. Exactly, that is how you will be writing. The same argument you can use in the context of case study. So that is why this is important. Understood? So that is what we will be arguing. Done? Fairly easy thing. Sticking to ethical means is detrimental to the larger developmental goals. Sticking to ethical means is detrimental to the larger developmental goal. Don't you think we have discussed that? Yes, just like that. Democracy and development do not go hand in hand. The same thing is there. So you can talk about short-term and long-term perspective, that maybe in short-term you will get GDP growth, something like that, but long-term you will have a lot of problems like climate change, inequality and everything. You can talk about how it will hurt market functioning, ease of doing business, foreign investors. If the environment is not ethical, will you attract more investors or less investors? You can talk about how a particular deal was a nation, African nation, cancelled the deal with a company only from India when the bribery charges were there, and that is how unethical things can actually, even the semblance of unethical things can actually harm you, economically. Understood? So that is the argument, and on that day 20% fall was there in the share prices of that company. So it can actually hurt you economically also. So that is what you can write, that ultimately not sticking to ethical men, there will not be long-term development, because market economy will not function, ease of doing business will not be there, credibility will not be there, everything. That is what you can argue. Will there be inclusiveness? It will also not be there, because you will be making policies only to serve some of the people who are powerful, and you will not be inclusive. So what is the development then? Will you be calling it development then? No. Sustainability, will you be calling it sustainability? No. Understood? So that is what you need to write. I think a few days before I was discussing something with a friend of mine who has come from China, and I was asking him that, how was it? The China, how is it? So he told me that China is at least 30 to 40 years ahead of us in terms of technology and everything. But you see, but they are focused on some of the islands of prosperity. Only if you go to Shanghai, you go to Beijing, you will see different perspective altogether. And when you go to countryside, you will have a different world altogether. So basically that is what they are focused on. So their development we cannot truly call development. They are like islands of prosperity that is there. We also have that. So it is not actually development. If you cannot develop your entire population in that way, if they are living in a very poor condition, then it is not exactly development. Okay, so that is what you can argue. Inclusiveness is very, very important. Sustainability is very, very important. And it's important to define development in the broader sense, not just in terms of economic sense. Okay, and ideas of liberty, equality, fraternity, they are also equally important. Okay, when you are discussing that. Understood? So that is what you need to argue. How many of you argued along those lines? Very nice. We have discussed that again and again. Yes? You tell me what could be the merit? We have discussed merit. We have discussed merit. I have given you section a question on that same theme. Recall Kriti or Kritika? I keep on Kriti. Yes. Good corruption. It is talking about good corruption only. Only 2-3 points only you need to write. Don't write 8-9 points for merit. Examiner will be confused whether you are in for or against this statement. Don't write too many merits for. Were you writing too many merits? I have discussed, I think yesterday only I told you, if the option is too ethical, give 4 merit, 1 demerit. If option is too unethical, like that. But in an unethical option, don't find too many merits. Examiner might be convinced otherwise that, this person can see merit in such option, then perhaps, that is what she believes in. Not too many merits. You can talk about faster GDP growth, that thing only. Individual morale, motivation, grease money, all those things. हाँ क्या बोल रहे हैं ये? फ्री वाइज, फ्रीबीज कैसे डालोगे, समझा नहीं मैं, क्या लिखोगे फ्रीबीज में? एथिकल मीन्स कहाँ से आ गए? एथिकल मीन्स से रिलेट करो ना, आर्गुमेंट बताओ ना क्या लिखा है। ऐसे एक फेंक दिया मेरे ऊपर, बताओ कोई लिंक करके दिखाओ, ऐसे थोड़ा ना चलेगा। आप बताओ आपने क्या लिखा है पहले, मैं बताऊंगा सही लिखा है कि नहीं लिखा है। अंडरस्टूड जी? कहाँ गए? गांधी सेंस बिल्कुल ऐड कर सकते हैं, गांधी सेंस ऐड करना ही चाहिए आपको। कॉमर्स विदाउट मोरालिटी, डेफिनेटली यू कैन ऐड दैट, यस डेफिनेटली यू कैन ऐड दैट। Okay, now this is, while one may not involve oneself in large unethical practices, but giving and accepting small gift make the system more efficient. Same argument we have discussed. Merit is motivation, grease money, everything. This was from the perspective of development, from the broader perspective of national development, that people are saying that don't become too democratic because consensus building is not easy and you just enforce the decision that you are making. You can give the example of farm laws also here, that a law that does not have people acceptance will be very difficult to enforce. For example, farm law, government had to take back farm law. That is objective answer that you are writing, because government actually took back the farm law. It is not revealing any of your political inclination. Okay, you can write that. So from this, it is talking about individual perspective, that this is actually more, this actually relate more to the greasing of the palm of the bureaucracy, that small gift, they make system more efficient. There is a term that is there in bureaucracy for that. How can I forget that? Yes, it is called courtesy. Okay, so what really happened, when you are into bureaucracy, and even if you are doing everything fairly, you are doing everything fairly. Suppose you have to procure the laptop. You have to procure 100,000 laptops, for example, and you are the head of that procurement. And you are inviting everything very fairly. You have not met any of the participants and everything. And you have selected the bidder on the fair ground only. Okay, and you have given the contract to that person, 1,000 laptops, you please. And then, that person will feel obligated that he should reward you somehow. So he will be coming with something, it can be kind, cash, service, I don't know, what it can be, but it is called courtesy. Sir, it is a courtesy only. No, आपने तो कुछ नहीं बोला, but sir हमें तो करना ही है. It is like that. It is called courtesy. There is a proper term for that. And the people in bureaucracy who accept courtesies, who do not demand it, but who only get it, they are honest people in bureaucracy. They are called honest only. So, yeah? Diwali? Diwali, I mean, the gifts are year round only. It is not exactly Diwali gift, but such bureaucrats are considered honest in bureaucracy. Usually that is the parlance that is there, that if you are not demanding money, if you are not exploitative in a way that you are asking money for every file that you are making, then you will be called honest only. So that is, I'm not saying that Mohsin before you ask anything, okay? I'm just explaining that someone told me this, okay? That is how it is. So there is a term for that it is called courtesy. Don't write that in the examination, okay? It is only for the discussion perspective. So what is the argument that is there? Demerit. Yes, slippery slope. Your motivation may turn into greed. Yes, work culture, precedent, integrity is non-selective. Integrity is not, a lie is lie, it does not matter. Integrity is non-selective. You are being selective here. That small corruption I will do, big corruption I will not do. So that is not exactly integrity. That is not exactly probity. And ultimately wrong means is inherently wrong. Understood? So that is the perspective here. Code of conduct kya? That you can write, but argument has to be more ethical. As it is illegal, that is what you can write. There will be consequences because it violates code of conduct. That is how you can write. We will talk about in terms of legal consequences. Is courtesy wrong then? Definitely it is wrong. See, people are innocent. Sir, मैं तो ईमानदारी से ही काम कर रही हूँ. Why courtesy is wrong then? If someone is liking my work, how wrong it is. We also give tip to waiters. don't we? Then what is the wrong if we are getting some tip out of it? So what is the wrong in the courtesy? Let us discuss that. What is so wrong about courtesy? The same argument that we discussed, that your motivation may turn into greed, it will be setting wrong precedent, everyone then will start demanding it after some point of time, and you are already getting paid to do your job. I mean, you are getting salary, don't you? Not as of now, but when you become bureaucrat. You are getting salary. Why are you getting salary then? If you demand something else for doing the same job, then why are you getting salary then? Understood? And that is why it is wrong. Yes, and actually also against code of conduct. It is illegal actually. It is. Okay, so that is why it is wrong. In private relationship, exchanging gifts create bond. Shall I add that? Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, you can talk about, show me the gift, I will show you the rule. Show me the gift, I will give you the tender. Like that. That is a very good perspective that, that it creates bonds. That if you exchange a gift, then it creates bond. One case study is there on that also. Okay, in that case study, you are the recently, you have recently been posted as SDM and people have come to greet you. They are giving a lot many gifts to you, so many costly gifts they have brought with them. And because that is building relationship and everything, okay? So, and some of the influential people of that area have also come to meet you and greet you, and they've also not come empty-handed, definitely, naturally, okay? So they have also come because they want to grow the bond, and your subordinate also, they are also gifting you something. So what is the argument that you will do here? That is it all right to accept gifts? Is it all right to accept gifts? Forget code of conduct. Just assume it is not illegal as of now. Just talk from ethical perspective only. Costly gifts only, yes. I'm talking about costly gifts only. I'm not talking about flower. I'm not talking about book. Costly gifts only. Just discuss that. Arey, who relationship advice? Kaun the wo? You please participate. Create bond and everything. Why it is wrong and why it is right? But it is for something else. It is not exactly to do any work. Here it is to do some work. You have become Collector Sahiba, you are in my district, so I have come, with some gift for you. Yes. So firstly, I mean, you will not be free. You will not have free will after that. There will be a sense of reciprocity that will be there, and that reciprocity will be towards our subordinate also, will be towards influential people also. Okay, and if that is not there, then aap bahut bade, you know that who you are. You are simply taking the gift with no sense of reciprocity. Then you are the real beast. Okay. Then so the sense of reciprocity will be there. Then, it may be the case that you might have to take disciplinary action against your subordinate for not doing something, and against the influential people also. Then you will be in a fix. And also, even if you are taking some action, and some people will always say that since you have taken some gift from those people, that action is not proportionate. You have been mild in terms of your punishment, because justice should not only seen to be done, it should not only be done, but should also seen to be done. It will impact that. So when Prime Minister Modi visited the house of CJI, it was not exactly wrong from latter perspective, but spirit-wise, it gave a different picture altogether. So that meeting was not exactly illegal. It was for creating that bond, personal relationship, everything, and both of them later, defended that. But many people argued that legislature and executive and judiciary, they should have some distance. So see, that is the only thing that is there. So one must have credibility in the eyes of public, in the eyes of subordinate. And also, my dear students, exchanging gift is not the only mean to strengthen the relationship. You can strengthen the relationship to other means also, perhaps by helping your subordinate in the time of their need, perhaps, by playing some games together, perhaps by taking care of their mental health. There are many ways through which you can foster a credible work culture, a work culture in which everyone is motivated, and not exactly you will always require gift to ensure that. That is why. Understood? So that is the argument that you will give, that exchanging gift is not the only way to foster relationship. Understood? And I have never given any gift to any of the topper, I'm telling you. Okay, never ever. And but I mean, there have been great bonds with the student. So that is how it is. CP is there. CP is different. CP is different. This time it was Rajouri. When she came, Mega came, we went to Rajouri. Her husband also came. He was sitting there. So I did not know. So we went to Rajouri because that is near to my place. It was already quite late for me. So I told them that we will go there. That is different. See, that is not lavish hospitality. That is not creating any sense of obligation on anyone, and that is actually different. Okay, you know that in your heart that is different. You are simply asking that question just for the sake of asking that question. That is different, and I think if I can make things work just by that dinner, then it is very cheap option to do that. Yes. ओरिएंटेशन करने का 2 लाख रुपए मैंने एक पैसा नहीं दिया भाई तो my student do not take money. I mean, I also do not give them because you also don't give me. So that is why I don't offer any money regarding that, regarding money. So I went to this Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Academy, this NP Academy, to do this interview with Aditya, Srivastav. And most of the time I'm meeting my toppers after result only. I've discussed that. Okay, online only, mostly many of them are online. For the first time, the interview was there in my hotel room. They have set it up, everything, and they were working all the time. And he gave me the time, sir, after the training I will come in the night and then we will record the interview. And go, okay. And then he came and, straight away, and he brought some sweets also for me and everything. And we recorded the interview, and then he was telling that, sir, this is only the second interview I have given. I have not given any other interviews, any other coaching and everything. And I think I should not have mentioned that. Okay, I think that is why I cannot mention the thing that he said, because I just mentioned that second coaching also. So, I mean, something was there, some reciprocity was there, which he declined. So he is, a student of, integrity. His, I think, great-grandfather or someone, he was an IAS officer. And after result, many of the toppers, they are into this limelight and everything, keep on doing so many things. But he was like, sir, I don't want to do any of it. I want to stay away from everything like that. And I've come here because it was my duty to come here. And that interview was recorded, I think, after a month or so after the result. Before that, he had given many interviews to other media channels, not to coaching institutes, other media channels. And there he had already spoken about me. So I need not say anything to him that you please speak about me and everything. Okay, so he had already spoken about it. Even before the marks were out, on the day of result only he spoke about me. On the day of result, even before knowing the marks and everything. So that was it. So I need not ask him anything that you should do this. He had already done his duty. But at times it is not there. At times all these things are done by different coaching. But Aditya was a different person altogether. A lot of my students are like that only. They are really kind to me. Okay. So now we know the argument, I think. Yes. So that is what it is. Now one rule is there. That rule has given a lot of power in your hands. Okay. I cannot make you sign anything at this point of time. That later on when the result is out, that I will be able to use your name. Okay, your good name, I cannot use it. So I cannot make you sign anything. That new CCPA guidelines are there. That consent should be taken after result only. So great way. And another thing is I have to take written consent also. Because it should not be, it will not just suffice that you say, हाँ sir, help हुआ था. You need to write that in writing that yes, you can use my name, sir. So one perspective is that yes, it is good thing. And another perspective is that CCPA has become too paternalistic in doing that. As if the students do not have wisdom to see through such things. But yeah, mostly they are misused, the results are misused also. So in that way, those regulations are good. So just be ready. I mean, that is given, I think, that when you become successful, you need to send me that immediately, just after result. You take picture also, I think. Many of them may refuse later. No, sir, when you were teaching us, we were not able to understand a single question. But after the break, then, I was able to understand everything, and that was a lot of my own hard work. So, that is what, not all the toppers are like that actually. Okay, so let us look at this question. Rampura, Sholay movie, something like that, Rampura. So, what are the ethical issues that are there? And what are steps that you will take to, improve the condition of minor girls and to improve overall socio-economic scenario? So, ethical issues, how you will think from stakeholder perspective, so that you are able to generate lot of dimensions. Okay, so what are the ethical issues here? Let us think from different stakeholder perspective. Let us think from the perspective of tribals. What are the ethical issues? Yes, means violation of their rights, social justice. Yes, categorical imperative. Normalizing child labor is that only, categorical imperative. Yes, I mean, we cannot make it a universal law. Then minor girls, their right to life, health, everything is violated, entitlements are violated. Then contractors, they are using girls as a means only. Yes, that is what you can write. Poor working conditions. Yes, it is there, poor working conditions. So it is like informal slavery, that you can always discuss. It is like informal slavery. The poor working conditions are that. NGOs, what you will write in NGOs? Duty. Yes, autonomy. Their voluntary and autonomous nature is compromised. And the spirit of service is missing. Their voluntary and autonomous, because that is the most important aspect of NGO. Very good. What is your name? You are good. Gautam, you are good. So, voluntary and autonomous nature is compromised and spirit of service is missing. Okay. So, NGO, youth, adequate means of livelihood. That is there somewhere. Where is there? I don't know. DPSP. Adequate means of livelihood, DPSP. How many of you went through DPSPs? Please go through it again and again. They are really, really good fodder points that are there that you can use in GS answer also and ethics answer also. Okay, right to adequate means of livelihood. Cultural shock that is there because of migration and everything. Then parents, moral responsibility, yes, fundamental duty, parents. Then state, from district admission perspective, they are violating welfare state, that is there under Article 38. Yes, welfare state, social contract they are violating. There is lack of accountability and potentially there is a lot of corruption, pervasive corruption. Okay, lack of accountability because the system, everything is broken. In the case study, everything is broken. So it is pervasive lack of accountability. The work culture is reeking of lack of accountability. And Labor Department is also not enforcing law. It is not ensuring rule of law because child labor is rampant. Labor Department. UN Convention also, you can write that we are violating that. So basically, from different perspective, how many of you wrote from different perspective in this case? Brilliant, shabash. And how many of you talked about from state, from the social contract perspective and everything? Shabash, very nice. DPSP, how many of you quoted DPSP? आप तो आज खुश कर रहे हैं, क्या हो गया? Very nice. You should be proud of that now you have improved. Yes, your thinking, everything, it is in alignment. I mean, that is how progress happens, and in coming 15-20 days, when you revise at your own, after this course, it will again tremendously improve. Okay, you can take my word for it. It will definitely improve. So that is what we need to write in ethical issues. Now the question is talking about that what you will do to improve overall scenarios. So what are the different aspects that we need to cater here? What are the different aspects that we need to cater here? One is condition of girls, because the question is specifically asking for that. And another is livelihood problem that are there. So livelihood, then perhaps NGOs, you need to fix NGOs also. So that is how we will be tackling every problem in our answer. Of course, most of the space will be given to lot of space, minor girls only, because that is the question. NGOs will take 1 or 2 points, something like that, and that is how we will be addressing each of the problem. So when you are answering such broader case study, always think in terms of how many problems you want to address, and you should address all these problems, even if it means you are writing only one line from each problem, because that bouquet of solution is more important than only one solution and more detail around it. You should not miss out on any problem, because you see, when you are given a problem and when you see the answer, you will be very happy seeing the answer of someone who has addressed almost all the problem than someone who has only addressed one problem. Won't you? Will it not be the case? Yes, you will feel like that, oh, he has not even seen the problem. Okay, so at least you have seen the problem, at least you have provided. So you must have broader perspective. So from a broader perspective, you must think about other problems also. And one of the important challenge that is there, that many of you are confused whether we should write from GS angle or not in this question. You should write, because what else you will do with respect to overall social economic scenario? You need to talk about specific solution, because in the second half of your ethics is about governance only. It is actually governance. So it is not your fault that UPSC has asked you this question. Okay, so you must always mention that. You should not be shy away from doing that. Of course, you must try to mention ethical words as and when it is necessary. But if the question is on that, be it on that. Okay, otherwise you will not be able to answer. You will not be able to write a broader answer. You will be, limiting your answer, horizon of answer, and that will hurt you. Okay, so minor girls, of course, immediate rescue and rehabilitation. Whenever you are addressing, when you are solving some problem, think in terms of urgency. What is the most important issue that you need to tackle at this point? Most important issue is immediate rescue and rehabilitation should be there, and after that you should do the medical examination, so that any potential case of sexual abuse can be ascertained, whether it is there or not. Accordingly, we can take the action. And then there should be special schools where it is not just education but vocational training that is also provided to make them employable. Midday meals, stipend, and everything. And then extensive awareness generation program. Okay, there you can use human chain, Sankalp Patras. I will give you one of the case studies in these 8 remaining sessions where we will be discussing in detail how to change attitude. I will give you many keywords. You can use those keywords in terms of changing attitude. We'll discuss that case study separately, but some things are that using human chains. You understand human chains, rallies, and Sankalp Patras. What are Sankalp Patras? In Sankalp Patras, in schools and colleges, you are actually asking the children that they go home and they ask their parents to sign on some sankalp, on some promises that they are making. It can be about anything. It can be about going green with respect to their behavior. It can be about participation in election, that they will go and vote. It can be about anything. So Sankalp Patras are a way to integrate family and the children together. Okay, so that is what you can do. Sankalp Patras talking about long-term benefit of the investing in human capital. Okay, so that is what you can discuss. And strengthening of child protection mechanism. Here you should give some example. Then economic conditions of family, what you will do for that. Okay, that is what you need to talk about. And ultimately deterrence against the contractor, because the law should take its own course, and then overall economic scenario, it should be about livelihood diversification, agriculture reforms, that is there, market linkages, SHG, FPOs, cooperative, certain keywords you should mention here. And then broader sense of accountability, when problem was there in terms of accountability, political reforms, you may address that also, better implementation of accountability through Gram Sabha, social audit and citizen charter. How many of you address this part? Because that problem is there in your case study. बाकी लोगों ने किया ही नहीं, भूल गए. Okay, and then NGOs, that how they should be audited, monitored, they should be official partner in service delivery, something like that. So basically you are addressing every problem that is there in the case study. Of course, lot of space will go to the minor girls, because that is a real problem that is there. And after that, if you have any good case study, you can quote that also. It is absolutely fine. That this practice was done in that district, and that is how they solved that problem. That will really, really helpful. So, and livelihood problem, and one line you talk about that. Understood? So that will be a bouquet of solutions that you are providing. Understood or not? Everyone understood? Online walo? Understood? Drinking water. You can talk. बोलिए. So here you can definitely talk about that just like Diva Mittal in that area, through her transformative leadership, changed the course of history by providing the water for the first time. Similar way, it required leadership, to take initiative, and this is what you will be doing. Definitely you can talk about leadership plays a great role. And conclusion can be anything, because these are real problems that are there in most of the part of the country, and it can be about that how to become totally ensure Amrit Kal. You need to ensure that such problems are not there. Some constitutional morality, social, economic, political justice. You can talk about that from preamble perspective. So anything you can talk about in conclusion. Minor girls here does not only means poor girls. Minor girls means who cannot give consent. They are not adult. Okay? So from that perspective, it is there. Done? हाँ, तो वो भी आप इसमें include कर सकते हो. Broadly, the thing is that you have to address different parts of the problem. That is what you need to learn from this case study. You should not just talk. The accountability problem is there, address it. NGOs are not functioning, address it. They should not go unaddressed. That is what I am saying. Okay, what you are writing, that is, you will be writing code only, because one suggestion only you have to write. Understood? Understood, everyone? Shall we move to the next case study? Rakesh? Note letter only. Okay. Rakesh. So, in this similar case study was asked by UPSC in 17 also. There, one worker died in the case study. There in that case study, one worker died while he was on the work, and he was drunk. And he died, and the family was demanding compensation and something like that. But before we discuss that, there's something that all of us need to understand, that at times, when we are discussing such accidents which are happening, in work environment, there are certain keywords that are important. One keyword is that the accident which are arising during employment and accident which are arising out of employment. So I will explain both of them. Suppose, someone is working here, suppose I am working here, and after I have done my job here, I go home, and suppose something happened, some accident happened to me there, okay, and suppose I die because of that. Then will the institute be responsible for that? Because it is not during the course of employment, okay, it is not during the course of employment. So it should be done during the course of employment. So one thing is that only will make the employer responsible for that. Another thing is the accident should arise out of employment. Suppose you are here, you are working in a private institute, and during, in between, your friend has come to see you, and in between you have just sneaked out of the office for lunch and whatever, and you are just going to meet her at, let's say, coffee shop. And during that transit, you get accident. So will that create any obligation on the employer to give you some compensation? Because A, it was done during the duration of employment. Will it create any pressure on the employer? No, because even though it was the accident was there during the course of employment, it was not exactly arising out of employment. You were there for your own personal work. But if suppose any organization has sent you for some work, suppose they have sent you that you go and do some survey there, and then people got really angry and they attacked you and they kill you, then it is out, the issues are arising out of employment, then organization is responsible. Understood or not? So that is something that you need to understand. In such accidents that are there, one thing that all of us need to see is whether that accident is arising out of employment and also during course of employment. Both the things are important. Another perspective is that what is the contribution, because whenever any decision making is there, all of you know, in this death penalty, whenever the rarest of rare doctrine, whenever judges decide that this is the fit case for rarest of the rare doctrine, then what do they look for? They look for mitigating circumstances. What are mitigating circumstances? From the perspective of the victim. from the perspective of the accused, that what were the circumstances that led to this decision making, so that they can just reduce that guilt on him. Perhaps that action was result of so many factors that were not under his control. So they want to reduce that guilt, so that they want to be sure that whether when he took that decision he was in full control of what he was doing and something like that. Understood? So always we are looking for contributory factor when we are actually deciding on the accountability. So suppose a worker is there, and if the worker is working in a factory and you are the manager, you are manager over there, and the worker working in the construction site, and in the construction site it is mandatory to wear helmets, and that worker is not wearing the helmet, and and some accident happened, and because of that that worker died. So the employer will definitely have some contribution, but it will be more, sorry, what was the case that I created? The helmet is available. Okay, if the helmet is not available, then the employer will have greater role, greater accountability. But in this case, when the helmet was available, but the employee was not wearing it, then he also have some contributory negligence towards it. That is what you need to see. If in that case, if you are drunk, and then you are working, then it will go into contributory negligence at your end when you are making that decision. And some responsibility, of course, will be there from the part of employer also, because they should have some supervision mechanism to ensure that people are not working in drunken state. So they will also share some blame, but it will not be the full blame on the employer only. Understood? So when you are deciding on a guilt, on accountability or anything, that is what you need to see, that whether contributory negligence or not, what are the factors that have led to this stage, that is what you need to see. Understood? So in this case, the question is, what is the question? Options, examine, dilemma. So what are the dilemmas? The options are really simple, that you strict no to both the demand, yes to both the demand, yes to one of the demand, you are consulting them, you are using media in terms of, committee, you have framed a committee and that will take that decision. You can use any of them, you can limit. In this question, many questions are there, so you should not create more than 4 options. Okay, because you have to examine them also. So in actual exam condition, 3 to 4 option is what that you should be aiming at, not more than that. Because that will create a lot of problem for you, because you have to examine them and write merit, demerit also. Okay, and also in this case, 4 questions are also there for you to answer. So those different options are there. Understood? And what are the dilemmas that are there? Examination is easy. What are the dilemmas that are there? So whether you should be going towards equality of treatment or equity. Equity, understand that equality, equal circumstances. That is what equity is all about. So equality versus equity. Sympathy versus compassion. That is not how you should write in actual exam condition. Sympathy to whom, compassion to whom. Okay, because you need to, because otherwise I can just simply copy paste it and use this in another case study. How will the examiner understand? Long term versus short term. What is long term with short term? So you need to write in bit more detail. No? Understood or not? So when you are writing dilemma, just add some words after this so that you can relate this to the case study. So whether you want to have sympathetic approach to them or compassionate, so that you are agreeing to their demand. Whether you are looking at in terms of making your decision as a precedent, or it will be one-time assistance. Okay, that is a dilemma that is there. Whether, the loss of public exchequer due to strike, because strike is there, already you are incurring loss. So that loss, it may be the case that if you just succumb to both the demand, then you will have a lot of benefit. Cost benefit analysis you do, then that will be far more beneficial than just continuing the strike. So that is a dilemma that is there, that loss of public exchequer due to a strike versus meeting demand and the consequent expenditure. Which of them, you should go towards. And then quality of service delivery, inconvenience to the public versus that to the family member, because they are also having inconvenience, their family member has died. So which things you will prioritize. So basically dilemma is nothing, you are simply talking about different values, you are relating those values to the case study and writing in the versus format. They are actually easy. And during session, in the subsequent sessions, I will be talking about lot of ethical dilemmas, and there we will discuss that in more detail. But let us, as of now, just understand that what should be the course of action in this case. Okay, so one action is that we should see that whether this accident has arisen out of and in the course of employment or not, and that is there. That it was during the course of employment, he was driving the bus only, and it was arising out of the employment because he was doing his duty only. It was not his private car that he was driving. So yes, it is there, and that is why the employer are definitely responsible. There is no doubt about it. But how much responsibility they owe? And for that, we need to see the contributory negligence. This is important because you see, in one of the cases, when this best buses are there now, I think they have discontinued in Mumbai. In one of the buses, someone was there and he was asking the driver to stop, and the driver did not stop, and that person jumped from the bus and he died. Okay, so the court, it announced that only 50% of the relief will be there for the kin. Actually, kin of the person who died after jumping of the bus, because why did you jump? That is a contributory negligence from that person's perspective, and that is why only 50% of the relief will be given, because that is your contribution in the negligence. Of course, driver could have stopped and everything, but you also played that role. One case was also there in which one truck driver died, and the truck driver died because of some heart issue, something like that. And later on, family, the truck driver was working for some company, transportation company, and later on the family, they raised the issue for compensation in the court. So consumer, I think some court was there, case of Maharashtra. This is a case of Maharashtra. Some court was there, and then it ruled that the transportation company is responsible for his death. When they filed for the compensation, the transport company filed it and said that we are rejecting the compensation demand because the person was already suffering from the health issues. He already had some heart problem. Okay, so you cannot, put that on us, that it is because of us that person has died. So later on, after hearing and so many things, court awarded some compensation and ordered some compensation from the perspective of employer, because they said that yes, initially some problem was there, we recognize that, but the driver was working for over 12 hours or 13 hours. Usually they should work for these many hours, they should have some break between their two shifts, but you were making him work like anything. And because of that, there was contributory factor from you towards his death, and that is why he's dead. That actually, led to more complexities, and that made him more vulnerable to that death, even though he was having heart conditions before joining you. So basically, court is now looking at the contributory factor. So that is how you also should look at it whenever you are fixing some guilt or fixing some accountability, that what are the contributory factors. Understood? So that is the case. So you need to actually see, you need to inquire everything and see who was at the fault. In this case, although it is said that the violence was started by the person, but what actually led to that? I mean, what was the thing that was done by the other person? It may be the case that he might have said something, he might have done something that actually provoked him in doing that. So we need to inquire about that, even though this person assaulted him first. Okay, so we need to see that whose actually fault was that, and what is the contribution of the employment in such case, because in this case, it is said that the bus, he has been driving on that route that was congested and everything on a daily basis, only. So whether that has led to some contribution to his mental state, because of that he was not able to, he actually reacted in that manner. So was there any contribution from that perspective, that he was driving through congested road again and again? And also, whether there is any previous instances, here we are judging his character, whether this was his first instance of such outburst that actually led to the death, because if this was his first instance, then the family deserves perhaps more compensation. But suppose he was a routine offender, then perhaps family does not deserve, because he was like that only. So we need to see the character of the person also, that whether there were previous instances of such thing or not. Understood? And then just compensation should be awarded. That is the case, should be fair. Whether should be full or equal to others, that is up to you. I mean, there is no single answer to this question. You can go for yes, we'll be giving full compensation and job also, but it should be treated as one-time precedent, or you can go towards anything. That is up to you. There is no fixed answer in this case, but you must justify that on what basis you are giving that judgment. and what could be the potential downside of it. That is what you need to see. Generally speaking, employment is always at the discretion of the government, because the ruling is there. The death of government employee does not entitle family for the job. The job on the ground of compassion, they are always the discretion of government only, whether or not it wants to give those job or not. Always discretion of the government. So no one can claim them as matter of their right, that it is by entitlement. No, it is not the case. So that is what you need to see, that what do you understand by this just mechanisms, but you need to talk about a due process that you will involve in order to arrive at all those factors, and then you will decide on the just compensation. And you can give also, you cannot give also. You can make it subjective, that if suppose this was his first instance and suppose someone actually provoked him and that factor is there, then perhaps you will be giving full compensation but not the employment. That is also you can provide. Okay, so that can be the way of addressing this question. But at the same time, you will ensure that there will be promptness in disbursing that benefit, because more often than not, suppose any crisis has happened, some people have died, what government do? Government just disburse, announce the relief at once, because it actually help people, so that is the case. So whatever the entitlement is, we should simply just ensure that we deliver that very promptly. That is very important. Whatever relief is there, you should just deliver it very promptly, and you should do that with utmost transparency and fairness, that see, this is our finding based on which we have decided that we will not be doing it, or we will be doing it, whatever your course is, and this is how we are doing it. So you should be prompt in taking that decision, and you should be fair also, and should be transparent also. That is what you can perhaps do, and that is why perhaps family will also understand that yes, that is the rationale of that decision, and that is why you are doing what you are doing. Understood? There is no single answer. You can make your answer subjective here in terms of the findings and everything, but what is more important is the due process of making decision here. That is more important. So how many of you employed some sorts of I would say qualification of the decision making, some factors that they give? Oh, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, very nice. Some factor at least you should give, that this is how we should think when we are awarding that. Understood? So that is what that you should write in this case study. Now I think you can take the photograph. Regarding options, merits and demerits, we will do another case study. We will address those part in greater detail. Right now we are learning ethical issues, how to write ethical issues, how to generate course of action in a broadest manner possible. These things we are learning. First question was done.
Option A and B, we have to rewrite the options available, or we can club both the options. Like any A option we are asking.
You can write options and then you can simply say you are evaluating that option. That is also you can do.
Rewriting the option.
Yes.
We can club also.
Clubbing can work. If the paucity of time is there, then you can club also. I think it is not the demand of the question, and that is not under your jurisdiction also. You are commissioner of the transport department. You are not police. That is the job of police to see that whether you are only talking about compensation and strike only. That is your responsibility. And the introduction to this question can be what? That as a transport commissioner, joint commissioner in this department, it is your responsibility and duty that you must ensure that a strike is resolved at the earliest and they start functioning, the public transport system start functioning. And that is how you are setting the agenda, and that is your immediate objective is all about when you are addressing that case study. Understood? So that can be the introduction in this case. In this case, introduction can be about that how there is clash of ethics in private relationship and professional life. So despite fault, if compensated, may encourage violence. So when I'm saying that you should compensate if you have found fault in that is how you can write. If you have found him guilty, if there have been previous instances, then you will not be awarded more compensation. That is what you need to write. When I'm saying that, the factors are more important. On what basis you are making the decision, it is more important. 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, all that is contributory negligence. That is what you need to decide after due investigation. Ji? Deadlock is because of that only, because they're demanding something, and you will meet them, you will explain that this is what we have done, and that is why he deserves or he does not deserve them that. And after that, if it is not there, then you will be invoking the act, all the Essential Service Act and everything that is there. You say that the law will take its own course after that. Management has taken decision does not mean that you cannot overview it. I mean, look at it again. That is not the case. That the scrutiny will be there. A preliminary inquiry only, I think they have done. And what you need to see whether there are any provocative factors or not. I mean, you are simply talking from the perspective that this is what we will be considering. And you can just simply at the end make two trees. If these things are positive for him, for example, first instance is there, contributing negligence is there, and some provocation was there by other party, then you will be talking about full compensation but not job. And then if it is not the case, he has made certain instances earlier, if that is the case, something, and then you will be not going ahead with all these things.
We emphasize on emotional intelligence in road rage.
Emotion, that you can talk about in conclusion. Emotion intelligence and road rage, that you can talk about in conclusion. That perhaps in such circumstances, emotion intelligence is necessary. Okay? This case study now we are discussing. You know? वो तो केस स्टडी है भाई क्या compensation be paid by both, not by department alone. So by both means what? You are only paying your part. So that is what you are agreeing, that we are only paying not full compensation, half of the compensation. That is the contribution to negligence that is there. Today we have learned more about ethical issues, how we have to think about them, how we have to address a particular problem from multi-dimensional perspective, and some part of introduction. Later on we will learn other layers also, and some ready-made options and their merits and demerits, that also we learn. Can we, one thing is that many people say that they can start their case study by some general study answer from current event that is there, you know, from current event often that is there that resemble that case study, or he's saying some road rage, death perspective. See, all these things you should write in conclusion, because introduction should be about case study. If UPSC wants you to note those things, it will say those things. Okay, so it should be about that. I mean, you should not become Sherlock and telling the government, see, we now know from where you have put the case study. That is not desired. But in conclusion perspective, you can always say that road rage is important, emotional intelligence is required because we are losing so many people because of that. So that is a broader perspective you are highlighting. You are not just limiting your answer to the case study, you are making a broader perspective. That you can do in conclusion, not an introduction. Introduction is about a specific point. You are making things specific to your case study. And writing a general point, writing some current event does not help in that. Okay, so that will come in conclusion. Systemic issue you can discuss, but that I think will not come under the Rakesh. Done?
Can you please again tell the intro, like role of joint commissioner in this case?
क्या बताया था? कल एक बताया था ना तरीका था इंट्रोडक्शन का कि whenever you are made someone SP, collector, whatever, so that position comes with responsibility. So any problem is there, then you may start but just by addressing that. As a transport commissioner, whatever it is there, as a joint commissioner of transport department, it is my immediate duty to ensure that a strike is resolved at the earliest and the buses start functioning to ensure convenience to the public, so that you are setting the agenda that this is what you want to achieve. That can be the introduction in this case. Media committee means someone else is making decision for you and you have made expert committee, neutral people are there that might have more trust. Media is basically using mediators to communicate some point to the people that people are already against you. You are losing sympathy because of the strike and everything, and that is why you should just curb this strike, because government may take some harsh action against you, something like that. In farmer protest, initially people were very supportive of their protest, but later on when the inconvenience was there on these roads, they were like that why they are sitting and everything. Done? Dilemma is simple, I think. These factors are important, you know. Done? This part is equally important. Promptness and transparency. How many of you address that? Promptness and transparency. Fairness. None. Okay, now you have this in mind, you know, when justice should not only be done, but should also seem to be done, especially in the cases when there are victims, their family, they must believe that justice has been done. Then only they will call off the strike. Okay, that is very good, Anjali, very good. Okay, now I think we have completed this part. Tomorrow we will discuss the mini-storming questions. Okay, not today. Tomorrow I will address them. Okay, any other doubt? Okay then, bye-bye. And this year case study we'll discuss in subsequent test. I will include them, don't worry. Okay, bye-bye, take care.